We are live in studio. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, the real Kyper and Bourne show. Sammy, you with us, bud? What did you just do?
No, I think Sammy's headphones weren't plugged in or something.
No, it's all good.
Okay, we were sorted.
All right. Well, wherever you are watching and listening, we're glad you are aboard. Sportsnet 360, 590 The Fan in Toronto, streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. Availability on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Plenty to get into. Brad May will join us in about 15 minutes. Also, Steve Valiquette for his regularly scheduled Tuesday, 5 p.m. on our national hour. Plenty to dive into around the National Hockey League. But first and foremost, sad news to the Sportsnet family, to hockey in general. Colleague of ours, one that I've known for well over 20 years, working with him, John Garrett, passed away suddenly yesterday. And quite the shock to all of us here at Sportsnet and around the hockey world. Cheech, as he's known to us, was beloved.
Totally.
In so many different ways. Had a chance to work with him early in my career, and one of those guys where you really enjoyed coming to work knowing that he was there, because number one is Cheech was a little older than me, so I do recall being a kid, a teenager, watching John in the NHL and be this terrific goaltender, ultimately known in Vancouver, watching him playing the All-Star game. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe it was in the island, JB, where he got summoned, I think, because there was an injury to a goalie, played, and actually was going to end up the MVP.
Oh, really?
Of the All-Star game. But Gretzky, I think, scored 3 or 4 goals and stole it from him.
How dare he?
And, of course, the rest is history. But, really sad day for me personally.
Sure.
Because I got a chance to work with him and enjoy him like so many out there have, as a teammate, as a colleague in broadcasting, a father, a grandfather, a husband, a friend.
Yeah, well said. I mean, there's not anyone you talk to in Vancouver who didn't love listening to him. The guy was in the broadcast booth after his career in 1986. It's 2026. 40 years of doing a great job and just being the perfect mix of seriousness, insightful, and humor for me. One of the all-time greats and just a great man by all accounts.
Yeah, I think your goal in life is to have people talk about you the way that they're seemingly talking about John Garrett here. I mean, I've never heard one bad thing about him ever. Yeah. Like everyone who ever crossed paths with him, I've never crossed paths with him, but everyone always said just massive beauty, always laughing. So it's a tough one. It was a shocker.
Totally. And we thought it would be nice to play. So he retired. Well, he had done a tour he was done in 2023.
Yes.
He wasn't done, but we thought he might be done at that time. And John Shorthouse put together a nice package, or just some thoughts.
Yeah, it was like just a little, 1 minute long sort of soliloquy on his partner, John Garrett. And I thought it's pretty nice. So if we want to roll that now, it'd be great.
His days with the Canucks date back 40 years, but for the last 20, my friend and broadcast partner John Garrett has been the voice and the brain who brings insight amid chaos, who strikes a perfect balance of seriousness and fun, and whose passion for the game is rivaled only by his respect for those who play it. His ability to communicate and to educate is nothing short of brilliant, and his team-first attitude is second to none, whether applied to the Canucks he covers or the broadcast team he captains. Cheech greets every situation with a smile and always has time for an autograph, a selfie, a joke, or a story. He's the everyman who eats what he likes and nothing else. He doesn't have time for a bad mood, and he never puts himself above anyone at any moment. In his distinguished career, Cheech has worked with 40 different play-by-play broadcasters, and I feel so fortunate and proud to have spent the last 15 years partnered with my great friend Dan Murphy and the guy we like to call our other dad. Thank you, Cheech, from all of us. It won't be the same without you.
That's really well done.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nice job, Shorty. All right. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
You got any updates for us, JB?
Yeah, they hired a guy. His name, no, like turning over rocks, asking the mailman. Kip, I don't know. You got anything new?
Yeah, I'll probably just kind of stick and reiterate what we said the other day, that this has gone to another level for Mats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure when he came in to discuss thoughts and ideas about being involved that it would escalate to maybe what it is right now. And the assumption is that he may have head of hockey operations on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And now, Mats, it's your move.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, maybe so. Does that work for you? Does it not work for you? Where's your wife and your kids on this? I think it's safe to say that any type of scenario outside of ambassador would call for him to move here full time. I had heard whispers that he'd started looking for a house, that there's realtors involved. Maybe that's a good sign that he will commit in some capacity. But as far as the actual job description, it still may be up for debate between him and Keith Pelly.
My two thoughts hearing you talk about that are, one, I wonder if they came in just to have a conversation about what you would want to do, what we would want to do, and those conversations led to, hey, maybe there's something more. We're very impressed with you. He actually wanted to do more than they expected. Maybe this is, if it built to something else. And then my next thought is, would he, if he took that job, then be able to hire people beneath him, or would they impose on him, this comes with that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, because we do hear John Chaika's name out there. Is that someone that Keith Pelly and Neil Glassberg, who's head of the firm, I guess, that's running this thing, would have said, hey, how about the two of you guys get together? What do you think? Go have a coffee,
Maybe
go
that's
for
what's
dinner.
happening. Maybe they're speed dating right now.
Speed dating.
Seeing if they like each other.
Or is it ultimately Mats's decision as a president or head of hockey ops, right?
Let me tell you that Toronto Maple Leafs fans have already AI-generated pictures of Mats Sundin sitting there smiling as Connor McDavid signs a contract in a Leafs jersey. People are way...
Yeah.
They're out over their skis.
It's made it to my group chats for sure. It's trickled in.
It's like, whoa. This thing is left containment.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is, as well, is, without Mats, and we know off and on the last few years, he has been around. He's gone on some trips. He's watched games. He's had conversations with some of the current players. But to go from that to what we're talking about and to understand the full dynamic, and I think we've all had these conversations in the past, that this ain't your Columbus Blue Jackets or Carolina Hurricanes or Tampa Bay Lightning. This is the Toronto Maple Leafs. It is a dynamic, complicated at times operation, and to fully understand what's underneath that and to pull the layers back a little bit is something that he has to truly understand and absorb, I think, before you make a huge commitment like that.
Yeah. I think he can get the breadth of the whole thing, right? I don't know that there'd be many people who would better understand what it means to be a Maple Leaf than Mats.
I think it helps that, he's spent so much time here, and there's my Toronto Maple Leafs, Maple Leaf Gardens, right? Hey, Henry, can I park here? To what Mats experienced after 1999 when they moved to, at that time, Air Canada Centre, and it went from still a smaller run machine to what they are today.
Yeah.
So he had that in the early 2000s. But now it's still gone to another level as well.
Can I ask you something here? And I hope this is not putting you on the spot, but just in some of the people I've talked to, Ty Domi's name has come up here and there. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that you have. Have you heard that?
Yes, I've heard that. Listen, Ty knows the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
He knows everybody in there. He's had, he knows Keith Pelly well. I don't know if you know this, but when Ty retired, Keith Pelly signed him right away to a contract with TSN as an analyst. So
They have a relationship.
there's a relationship there.
Yeah.
Ty and Mats are tight too.
They're of course they are.
Yeah.
We know what they've meant to each other on the ice, and it's been well documented off the ice as well. So
Yeah, just name I had
it
heard.
does seem to be, and I fully support this, that Keith Pelly reaches out to ex-players that have lived it in this town.
Totally.
And that would include Ty Domi. And we heard the name Gary Roberts out there. Hey, Curtis Joseph's around. We've had him as a guest on our show, and we love him.
Yeah.
And there's times when it's like, tell us more. And he's like, well, I can't.
Yeah.
Basically, because
It's funny.
he's still involved with the team in various capacities and totally respect that. And Wendell's around and
Darcy Tucker?
Darcy Tucker's around. Yes. Yeah. And if Keith is leaning on some of these guys, good.
No, I don't disagree that it's good.
If you're asking me, do I think Ty's going to end up with a job out of this?
Right.
I probably would tell you that Neil Glassberg, who's head of the firm, has a better shot at getting a job with the Leafs after this than probably Ty.
But I don't even know how to take that, because that could mean just that
Really
Neil
good
has a
chance.
good shot, or that might still leave Ty with a good chance.
The tendency is when companies hire firms, someone's looking for a job after it.
Yeah. There's some connection, is there?
My fear in all of this and all these names that you're bringing up and everything is just that it just all feels really like they're like, who do Leaf fans love the most?
Well, yes.
And it's not a hockey minded
Who's
decision.
going to make the best decisions?
It's not who's the best hockey thinker, who's the best hockey decider. It's who's going to make our disgruntled fan base the happiest. That's what I see.
Yeah, but
when I see a lot of these
that
names.
lasts for about 5 minutes.
I know,
And
which
then-
is worrisome.
And then you got to go to work, right?
It's like giving a puppy for
I don't-
Christmas or something.
I could
it's
be-
awesome.
I could be wrong.
That morning rocks.
I could be wrong, but I don't think Ty's looking for a job.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy. He's in New York.
Well, a lot
he's
of
in
these
Toronto.
names you mentioned, I feel the same about. Like, I don't feel like whoever, like Tucker's going to want
That's
to
how I
give
feel
up,
about-
his happy life he's got.
Isn't that how you both, before the last 3 weeks, would have felt about Mats Sundin?
Yeah, but if he's changed his mind and wants to get involved, I will say, even if you're a wealthy, happy family person, whatever, at some point you want to have purpose as your kids get old. You want to do something, like
Yeah, I get it.
like if he decides, okay, I'm ready to.
He could be at a stage.
Hell of a something.
Matt's could be
Well,
at a
it's-
stage.
It's the biggest something ever.
He could be at that stage where, I'm not saying he's bored, but I'm too young to not be challenged.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's definitely a thing. There's people like that. I see Kevin BX on our panel all the time. It's only a matter of time till one day his kids are out of the house and he goes, okay, I'm going to be a GM now or whatever, AGM, whatever he wants to do. But like there are guys who are just kind of waiting till it's the right time for them to be involved, and maybe Mats has made that call. So I guess that's where that's at.
The only pitfall that may be is would he be pressed against the clock to come in, make some real tough decisions early, and be pressed to get them to compete right away out of the gate and get them in the playoff spot?
To me-
that to me, it worries me for him.
But if you hire him, you can't have him be the face of trades and stuff. You need a GM. You need someone who's coming in and saying, hey, here's what we're doing, and have him oversee it, be the figurehead, fine. But he's not going to come in and say, we're making the tough calls and Nylander's got to go.
Well, what would he base it on, though, right? From what he's he's watched over in Sweden or what he's learned since he's been in town?
I would like him to base it on the decision of a guy who's been tightly enmeshed in all this, who's been watching.
But I don't think that's him right now.
No, I don't think he's equipped to come in today and say, yeah, we're going to trade a big guy, or we're going to, flip this first we ended up getting and move back 4 spots in the draft for an additional asset. I don't think that's what I want him to come in and do, just because I'm not sure that he's been boots on the ground.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm a little older than you guys. I'm not giving you a news flash here, but
No way.
I can't think of another scenario like this that I've done since I've been broadcasting, when I can look at someone that is coming in and
I kind of have one.
give me a name.
Marty St. Louis. He wasn't, no NHL ties, coaching Pee Wee hockey, boom, head coach of the Canadiens.
Not a bad one.
I get the comparison for sure, but it's not like coaching where it's not.
You know the game and where to stand.
You know the game. You know what you want out of players. Yeah. That to me is way easier to go behind a bench
as a player
and ask a guy to do something for the first time and then form a relationship and see what you like or what you don't like instantly.
I couldn't agree more. My own point is
not
great.
To now come in and, Marty also had the luxury.
I thought the thought was
in
okay.
terms of someone parachuting in, you're going, who?
Don't beat yourself up too much there, buddy.
You're not far off.
Yeah, but I mean,
it is challenging.
GM world, it's super uncommon. Like Sakic, where'd he come from?
And it was
before?
against the odds, but for Marty to come in, but Marty didn't have to get them in the playoffs, and he didn't have to turn anything around
he
quickly.
He could learn to coach well his player. They drafted and got older, and now he's year 4 or 5, and he's like, oh, I'm a more well-rounded coach.
Yeah, but
Mats will not have 4 or 5 years to become a more well-rounded head of hockey operations for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Valuation $4 billion.
So I honestly, it does feel like
$5 billion?
It does feel like it's in a holding pattern here,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're asking me as a spectator watching far away, I'm leaning towards him taking the job right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he could have second thoughts at the last second and say it's
right now.
A little bit too much for me and back off maybe.
I think he's going to spend one weekend. It's like a sort of a cabin in the woods with Scott White and one with Chayka, and they're going to, who do you like better?
Whoa.
Yeah. How are you going to get to know everyone, Sam?
So Mayday is going to hop on after 4:30. So if we want to talk about the Oilers tonight, or do you want to talk about, we're setting them up. Never mind. We're setting them up now.
All right.
We miscommunication.
Roger, checking.
And he's another guy where he's been a guest many times, Brad May, on our show.
Mm-hmm.
And I could sit here and talk for hours and just about the game in general and his insights into the game, within the game, what he likes, I could sit and talk to Mayday for hours.
Totally.
And he'd be another guy if I'm Keith Pelly, where I'm going, hey, Mayday, you got an hour for me? Just want to get your thoughts on a few things.
Yeah,
we gotta get him. We gotta get him to talk Sabres too.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk Sabres, of course. All right, Mayday.
Let's go.
Former National Hockey Leaguer, Stanley Cup champion, and a guy. If I was Keith Pelly, I would be calling right now and going, Mayday, give me your thoughts, buddy. Give me your thoughts.
That's actually really cool that you say that, Nick. I really appreciate that.
So
you know what? There's no question. I'm passionate about the game, and I can articulate it. And I have a lot of thoughts about on the Toronto Maple Leafs and every other team that's playing right now and how they built their teams. I think culture's a massive, such an important thing. And what is culture? I guess is the first question that you'd be asked, or I'd ask. Keith Pelly? Like, what's the culture that you believe is missing in Toronto, and how do you how would you develop culture? And I think the idea of delegating responsibility, but asking those right questions and listening to the answers, the ability, the whole idea of building culture is the ability to, you know, respect the talent that you have. That's obviously in your workforce, and everybody that's going to be together day to day, and giving them the rope or the room to make their own decisions. So delegating responsibly and getting out of their way. So if you're a president of a hockey team, hire your general manager and get out of his way. You have a lot to do, from 40,000 feet, the GM at 20,000 feet, and then the coaching staff, and then down to the players. And I say there's a different word to use, but crap runs downhill, and it gets to the lowest denominators. And in hockey or a professional sports team, it would be your players. And at the end of the day, those guys have to be unencumbered and inspired to use their skill set. The greatest assets that a player has are their anticipation, to read the game, to actually make those plays that were innate, and that they've developed those skills and the timing of that. And when you're overcoached and you're not allowed to be an individual, or you as an individual in a team format, so many players become lesser than because they're overcoached. And I think that goes down through every level of an organization. I don't want to get too deep. I don't have a thesis prepared today, but I'd love to have that conversation, because at the end of the day, the one thing I do know is I know how to make a team, or a group of guys, in this case, a locker room. I know how to build it, and I know how to keep it together, and I know how to identify where the problems are. And I know you do too, Nick. We've been on losing teams. We've been on winning teams. Being on a winning team, you learn so much. But it's very possible on those bad teams, you learn exactly who not to be. And that's a big thing too.
Mayday, of course, this past week, Mats Sundin's name's been out there in terms of where it truly lies, in terms of what his role potentially could be here, from head of hockey ops, right down to probably coming in and slowly getting his feet wet. We know Mats, as far as the culture part of the game, would be well covered in passing that along. But where do you see pitfalls for him if he was to come in and maybe not have the luxury of a Brendan Shanahan of developing for the next 3 or 4 years?
Great question. The first pitfall would be that success here in Toronto. I mean, everybody, all their fan base, and certainly all their sponsors and season ticket holders, they don't want to show up possibly, unless the message is conveyed clearly that, listen, we're going to be growing. There's going to be some tougher nights, but you're going to see more character from our group, because that's what we're doing. We're going to build character with our young players, and these young players are going to become, bona fide NHLers and older players. I think the hardest part would be a player like Mats, who's so revered, to come in and his team that he takes over isn't ready to take that next step. If in fact that happens, very possible that, you look at the Buffalo Sabres, and I just want to give the Toronto fan maybe some hope. Now, the question is, will it happen? I don't know. But Buffalo was the worst team in the league 5 months ago. And they were the worst team in the league many years over the last 14 years, not making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They didn't change personnel. They changed the general manager. And that general manager had a message. The difference is, whatever message was being sent wasn't being heard. And somehow maybe they redeveloped a new message, but it's the same coach. They played for that same coach. He was the worst coach in the league for the worst team in the league. And 4 months later, the Buffalo Sabres are a wagon. They look like, I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but they look like they've been amazing. They've been the best team, or one of them, in the last 4 months. And what happened? A belief system between their ears, an accountability system. When Tage Thompson stands up in the middle of the locker room and talks to his teammates, the teammates respond in kind. That's what a winning culture starts and begins. And by the way, they went from the basement to the penthouse. in the last 4 months. I mean, that's not to say that it couldn't happen in Toronto, couldn't happen in other cities as well. It's the message and the willingness of 25 players to actually hear it and then execute it.
So then I guess with this Toronto Maple Leafs team, I am curious your thoughts on how much of their struggles this past year were sort of the message wasn't received, there was no buy-in, there was whatever, versus just the roster's not good enough. Which step is a bigger priority, sort of correcting direction and message versus adding more talent?
Well, for a Mats Sundin or whoever the lucky, fortunate person that's going to take the reins and lead this team going forward, they had injuries at the wrong time early. They didn't play. There's so many stats that we could sit and look at excuses. The bottom line it was a different type of year. The Olympics, condensed schedule, injuries. Trying to, was it the best time to introduce Easton Cowan early in the season? Should he have had some marinating in the minors? But he's there now, and he's actually making a difference in their Calder Cup pursuit, which is actually cool. By the way, Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I'm here to tell you, 90% of NHL players play in the American Hockey League. And I think that number is pretty darn close. That there's over 200 first and second round draft picks that play every year in the American Hockey League. So just because we're NHL watchers and we think that the minor leagues aren't as good, they're the actual springboard and the lifeline for the National Hockey League. And if a team like the Toronto Marlies have an extensive run, if in fact it can pull it out, there's going to be a lot of development here in the next 6 weeks for that group of players. Now the question is, I would imagine 3, 4, 5 of them, if they do have a run like that, will become day-to-day NHLers. Maybe that's going to be on the Toronto roster. Maybe it's going to be somewhere else. But don't underestimate the minors and the development process and the experience you get when you play in the playoffs, whether it's in the NHL, major, junior, or the American Hockey League.
You're watching and listening to Brad May, former National Hockey League Stanley Cup champion. You know what I love best about the Buffalo Sabres playoff run now is getting the tsunami of video of you and Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
Listen, Nick, I feel like a pompous ass. I do because I literally I catch myself watching those videos, and I'm the one that's hearting liking those videos. And I'm the only one. I retweet them.
That is so cool.
You should. The pump in front of the net,
and it will live forever.
Listen. It's a moment in time that hasn't died. I'm so grateful for it. By the way, it was the 33rd anniversary a couple days ago, April 24th. It was a moment in time that still lives, and it's given me a lot of I say credibility, but I certainly an icebreaker when I'm in a room full of hockey fans or hockey players, or I'm recognized from that moment 33 years later, and it's pretty cool. And Rick Jeanneret, when I hear his voice, it takes me back. We all love Rick, but he's one of the best. Toronto just had their radio broadcaster retire this year, Joe Bowen. Their voice is what kind of brought us in. Whether we were in the car or at home, we became fans listening to the game, and those men, they helped us.
Such an important role.
Hockey fans, and they're the first line of connection to the fan base. And then, of course, the TV guys, which you guys do a fantastic job. I was on that panel, or a channel like you guys, with Nick years ago. We have a big responsibility to have fun, tell great stories, be respectful, but also lend our experience. And by the way, it's okay calling someone out for a bad play, a misread, because that is what our job is supposed to be. We shouldn't be apologetic for that. We got to be careful calling out people's character, because you don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know what he's been told. And very often we're going to be wrong if you indict somebody's character. But there's moments in the game of hockey, we need people that are strong and stronger and stand up for just principle. And there's moments in this past season, we had one in particular in Toronto, one moment that could derail a franchise for years. We saw that happen in Buffalo years ago. And our job is to call it for what it is.
No, I think you're bang on then. So seeing Buffalo turn that corner and rally must be really cool for you. We got the Blade Gang is banging the drum tonight in Buffalo, which is going to be really cool. It just, the energy in Buffalo is awesome, and everyone wants to see it going. How do you like their odds here? They're up 3-1. Are we going to get a good few more weeks of this, another month or two of this? What are you projecting for the Sabres?
You know what? I'm not going to make any predictions. I don't want to be that guy. I want to say I want to see them win. I want to see them go deeper in the playoffs. I want to get down there. I've actually had an opportunity, just have been too busy to actually go down and bang that drum over the. I don't want to say tonight, but I had an opportunity the first game and game two as well. I just haven't been able to get there, and it hurts me that I'm not there with that city and that fan base. Again, no matter what we say, there's no jinxing. There's none of that stuff. Oh my God, cross your fingers, or, don't say the word shutout. Oh my God, you're going to jinx the goaltender. None of that makes any sense. We got nothing to do with the game and what's happening other than sit back, enjoy, and watch it. We can say whatever we want. For the fans of Buffalo, they've been hurt so often that they've got a little scar tissue there, and they just want to celebrate. And I hope tonight's the night. And if it is the night, watch out Buffalo. They're gonna be respectful, I'm sure. But it's like popping the balloon. Let the air out. Yeah. They deserve it. They've been cheering on the Bills heartaches year after year, the Buffalo Sabres year after year, and they keep coming back and supporting their team. Wonderful fan base.
Outside of Buffalo, before we let you go, any other series that's caught your eye? Tampa Bay and Montreal. We saw a huge hit on Slafkovsky when Crozier hit him. Man, that's some good hockey there in that series as well, Mayday.
Yeah. So speaking of that hit, I loved it. I believe it was clean, right? There was nothing.
Good by me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. The hit, Clavin in Ottawa when he stepped down the boards and hit Nikishkin. I thought that series is the best in round one, although it was only 4 games. Ottawa was spectacular. They played so well. Freddie Anderson, gosh, wouldn't we love to have today's Freddie Anderson 8 years ago in Toronto, right? He was amazing. I like the Carolina Hurricanes. I believe the Hurricanes will play the Avalanche in the Stanley Cup final. That's my prediction. But outside of that, I want these teams just to do what they do, entertain us. Let me sit back and jump out of my seat 7 or 8 times a night and get excited. And that's what I've been doing. How about the series with Minnesota and Dallas has been pretty good as well. I'm excited. My last one, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, no. But my only wish for the National Hockey League and for one player in particular, and I don't mean to reduce it down to this, but Connor McDavid, I want to see him hoist the Stanley Cup. I hope somehow they can find a way to get back in it. I don't know if it's possible. But one day, as we're fans of hockey, I want to see McDavid hoist the cup. That's the only thing I really care about.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if he's in the lineup tonight or not, as he is now in a game time decision. Mayday, I always love having you on our show, pal.
We both do.
Well, you know what? I that makes me feel really good. And I'm actually standing right now in the old Maple Leaf Gardens, Mattamy Center right now. I played hockey this afternoon with a few teams. Doug Gilmore's with me, PJ Stock, and Brian Scrudland. I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. I don't take it for granted. And again, I just want to say you guys do a great job, as does the other crews. We have a responsibility to be.
But we're better than O-Dog.
No, you guys,
just say it. We're better than O-Dog's show. Say it, Mayday. You tell me that all the time.
Okay, but here's the thing. I love you guys. I'm a Sportsnet guy too. And you know what? If there's a team to cheer for, I'm on the Sportsnet guys. But at the end of the day, Sammy McKee's amazing too, guys. He's got to get more airtime. Sammy's got to get more airtime.
Yeah.
Some Kenny love right
Shout
there.
Shout out Kenny May.
My dad loves you, Sammy.
Mayday, say hi to the boys for us.
I appreciate it. And by the way, keep it real.
Okay.
You got
Brad May, everybody.
Mayday.
Mayday.
Appreciate you. Good stuff.
Yeah. And he's right. There's other crews that do a decent job.
Yeah, okay.
They're decent.
Fine.
Right? Noodles and the boys. They're okay.
Good stuff there on the culture of the Leafs. And I loved what he said about the minors. And feel like that's kind of been when the Leafs were kind of coming up there with Matthews. They used the Marlies really well, right? Like Hyman,
Totally, everyone got
Connor
time.
Brown, Nylander, all those guys came up through that system. They work.
I wish everybody could just go down there for a little while. And
I
just
love what
experience
Cowan's
it.
doing right now. He's got, just played 3 playoff games.
Understand why he
didn't do more of it.
didn't do more of
Because
it.
they sucked and they needed to play him on the top line.
Yeah, that's part of it. They thought they
He
were
was one of their
trying to
best
win
players.
hockey games.
No, but during the Olympics, he didn't
Oh,
go.
no,
He skated with London
But
Knights.
Yeah, that was
this
weird.
was the exact thing that I had the problem with the previous management is a lack of foresight to say, oh, well, he's played X amount of games over the last 3 weeks, so we can't. It's like, well, could we have seen that coming? Look ahead at the old calendar? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Maybe talk Oilers tonight. Got a couple clips to play.
Plenty more, including Steve Valiquette, CEO of ClearSight Analytics, MSG, does a great job on Tuesdays. You're not going to want to miss that as well. Plenty more on the Real Kyper Bourne Show. Do not touch that dial.
It's been 13 years since my wife and I moved to Toronto, which is a good 10 plus hours from either one of our families. We've loved the city and we love the work too, so turns out that distance has become permanent. We alternate who we see at Christmas, and each summer we try to go both places. That works because there's lots of people who like to see Toronto. A couple years back, we tried hosting our house on Airbnb, and it's funny how it's just become a part of the budget math now. It's like flights are going to be this much, and we know we're going to save that much of it by hosting on Airbnb, and we figure out the rest from there. This year, it's a particularly intriguing option as the FIFA World Cup 2026 is in Toronto, meaning there's going to be no shortage of people looking for a place to stay. We're excited to be around all that energy for the first little bit, but it's also going to be great to be able to get out of the madness too, and to recoup some vacation money at the same time. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host.
Welcome back in studio. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Huge one here for the Edmonton Oilers. Backs against the wall.
Yeah.
What do we think?
A couple things. Concerned about the McDavid status. Because yesterday I boldly proclaimed that the Oilers would still win the series, and then I hear he's a game-time decision, and I don't
He only
feel so
played...
good.
I forgot Kyper stole my sheet.
Here.
No, I'll pull it up on my computer. Let's just play Knobloch.
Played under 20 minutes last game, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
Right? For a playoff game for him.
There's a lot of times we talk about things on this show, and something that you've been harping on for the last year, and it's disgusted me because I like best on best hockey and the Olympics and Four Nations face-off, and you've just been saying, it's going to catch up to him at some point. It's going to catch up to him at some point. Feels like it's catching up to him. Like, I know it's a freak injury. I know it's just a lot to ask of a guy.
Yeah, I don't even think about the Olympics as much as I think about playing the last 14, 15 games without Leon Draisaitl.
Just a lot of...
With a team that was
had to get into playoffs.
Had to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, they used him like it was...
Playoffs.
Yeah. He's Superman to me. Like, I just can't bet against him. I bet you he plays. I bet you he has 2 points, and I bet you they win.
If he, in this game, at this point of his Oilers career, is talking about being a game-time decision, he is banged up.
Yeah, but I also think the Oilers are like, I don't know, we got to throw everything we can at them. Maybe they'll, have to game plan for him being out. Maybe this is something for the Ducks.
Oh, you think that?
Well, I don't believe it, but I think it doesn't hurt to at least call into confusion what their lineup is going to look like.
What do you think of that? Like, do you think that that's gamesmanship from them?
Absolutely not. I think, again, I looked at under 20 minutes, which is, there's no gamesmanship there. There's just a guy that's hurting.
Yeah.
Those two clips of him barreling wide past guys and getting to the net, like, he's still moving pretty good. I don't know.
Let's get head coach Knobloch's thoughts on McDavid and Dickinson as well.
What can you tell us about Connor McDavid and Jason Dickinson's availability for tonight's game?
They're both game time decisions.
There you
Okay.
go. There you go.
Dickinson, by the way,
A lot of meat on that bone.
It was more of a scene setter clip before we talked about all that stuff, and then you went and we blabbed for a bit, and then you played it. So
hey,
it was
good
more
producing.
of a scene setter clip.
I don't know if
Good
I've said this
hosting.
on air yet, but I don't think people recognize how hard it is for the best players to keep their points per game pace that they have in the regular season and playoffs. Suddenly it's all the best teams and their game plan forward, whatever. But that just means you need this next layer of guys. Dickinson, as well as Kasperi Kapanen, has been awesome for them. Brett Howden last night in Vegas. Like, you get these guys that are not getting circled before the series that have a little bit more room. They're not getting matched. All of a sudden they can be heroes. And I mean, Dickinson has mattered for the Oilers.
Yeah.
He's been very good.
Very good.
Kapanen, by the way, interested in this, UFA this summer. 4 goals in 4 games.
Yeah, he's a guy that has been a challenge to a lot of teams over the years.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if he's grown up.
At times, immaturity too, decision-making
Yes.
off the ice
Yeah.
hasn't been great.
No, but like,
But I'm listening to him in his post-game comments, and he sounds like a guy that's kind of starting to get it a little
well,
bit.
that's kind of how I feel. Like,
Valuable guy. He'll get money.
Well, that's what I'm very curious. He hasn't been paid very much. He hasn't been very effective. This season he was on pace for 16 goals or something. But he's fast and he's physical and he's got big game
Good playoff
genes. Someone's going to give him 3x3 or something. Don't hate that for the Maplers.
Before we get to the Ingram conversation, like, just how much is at stake tonight with this hockey game? Like, what is going to happen if the Edmonton Oilers lose tonight?
The Ingram thing is fascinating, but your question's more fascinating.
Like,
I don't think
Bowman,
yeah.
Knobloch,
Knobloch.
Yes.
There'll be changes, and there'll be, the first one would probably be coaching
Okay.
for me.
Yep.
Outside of that, I don't think Stan Bowman's in jeopardy.
You don't think
done
if
a-
Ingram's...
I could be wrong.
I'm just saying, on the goalie thing alone, it's a tough look. Like if they lose in 5 and Ingram's not good tonight, and they traded Stu Skinner for a guy they couldn't even put in the net, and Jari's making 5.4 until 2028, that'd be bad.
This roster, a lot of the decisions that have been made, the big key decisions over the past 2 years, have not been great.
Well, the one that has absolutely crushed them is Broberg. And Holloway I can almost live with because it's easier to find than Broberg.
Yeah.
A young top 4D that's turned into a top 2D.
Like you
can't.
Or whatever it was.
It's too hard. That one you don't recover from.
I mean, Holloway back-to-back seasons, 26,
okay, I get it.
22 and 59.
But Sam,
plus 13 on the crappy Blues.
Less impactful than a 20-plus defenseman.
He's a top pair D.
Right?
Broberg's a top pair
Those guys control pace of play a lot more than a Holloway.
Yeah.
And that's that's been missing. And the other one was the injury to the defenseman. See what happens. He hasn't played in a year and a half, 2 years. The shoulder.
God, I'm going to be embarrassed here when I
can't remember. Anyways, another D-man that's eluded me by name.
I know who you're talking about. Oh, my God. I can't think of it either.
See, because he hasn't played in 2 years and we've got a million names in our heads.
Hold on.
But those are game-changing situations. He separated his shoulder.
I'm going to get it.
Sammy!
I'm going to get it. Give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves.
That's
Oscar Klefbom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Klefbom.
Yeah.
Like that
he was
one.
Good. Forgot about him.
Like
legit forgot about him.
Like two
LA
blue
King.
liners, game-changing for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, 6'3", 216-pound defenseman who was, scoring 28, 34, 38, 21 points in the season. Like, he can play.
So
McLeod for Savoy.
Let's just worst case scenario.
So people like Savoy, but I watch the Sabres and he's fast and young. I don't know. It's a tough one for me.
Worst case scenario, they lose tonight, and where does that leave? And you know how it works here in this country, okay?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I know.
And Ottawa's going through it with Brady right now,
and they're very frustrated with having to go through it.
And that conversation will start, and they will be on the clock for 2 more years.
Yeah.
And where do you go with that conversation if everyone stays intact here, including Jackson and Bowman? Like, how's that exit meeting with Connor?
Mm-hmm.
Bad. You're not looking forward to it.
You aren't, but what do you say? We can still fix this. We're going to come back next year. This is what we can do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
but
you have to have a plan. You can't go into it and go, what do you think we should do? You got to be like, look, this is how much cap space we have. This is where we think we're lacking. The goaltending thing didn't work out. We're going to try to do that, fix that by getting Anthony Stolarz. We think he's going to be our solution here.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
In the meantime.
I love it.
In the meantime.
Good idea.
So Connor's got to watch tonight, wonder where the goaltending is, and ultimately you hope that Connor goes, hey, good decision to put Ingram back in. That's what you can hope.
I think Jari was pretty good last game.
You want to hear the justification from from Knoblauch? Let's play the clip on Connor Ingram going back in tonight. Clip 2.
Nothing against Jari. I thought he had a solid game the other night, but going down this last few weeks or months, Ingram's been our starter. He's been our guy. And now that our season's on the line, we felt that we would go with our guy.
Could we just get a comment on...
No, you can try it.
Okay, he can't say our guy,
He's our guy.
More.
Our guy.
Our guy.
Our guy.
You're not our guy. That's all he said to Jari. You're not our guy.
I don't know what they're doing with Jari this summer, but it's impossible to imagine him playing for the Oilers next year.
Well, that contract, I don't think it's that impossible. Maybe Bakersfield.
Jack Campbell, pal.
Maybe Bakersfield might have a new starter.
Oh, yeah, you're burying that thing.
You can't call
some
the
way.
other guy our guy repeatedly after giving him the hook for one game where
it was pretty good.
Well, he's pretty good,
Except-
and they kind of got outplayed.
Except I feel like that Valley's going to come on after the break and be like, he wasn't that good.
You saw his tweet
He's like,
teasing his appearance. I think we're going to get.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, because the memory does get tricky at times. But he is one of many goalies this year who kind of called out his team.
Jari?
Yeah.
Oh, when he first got there, he's like, this is a tough
right?
team to make saves behind, basically.
Boys, that's when Knobloch and company said, that's not our guy. That's the moment. He lost.
You put yourself on a softball tee. The moment you say something like that, you're like, have at her. Like, you have to be perfect the second you do that.
You do.
And so for a goalie, and I'll admit I'm coming around on who gets to call out their team and who not, only because for a goalie, you just don't know how it's gonna go, and you have to be perfect if you're gonna do it. Like a player, you can hide a bit. It's a bit more gray.
We had Mark Messier on yesterday, and he talked about using the media in ways to get messages across. And for those of you that didn't watch, please download it and listen to Mark Messier talk about the dangers of doing exactly that, and what message ultimately it tells your opponents that there's a crack in the armor,
Totally.
there's weakness. We've got you right where we want you.
And
that's what you want to ultimately avoid.
My junior coach had a big thing about never let him see you sweat. And so he didn't want us slamming gates, throwing water bottles. Like we just, even if you're frustrated, it's just, you don't want the other team to know that you're getting frustrated. And that is a big part of this. The other thing Mess said that was interesting, I asked him, can you call out a goalie? Because it's a different position. They're almost on their own little island, and they're a little more touchy, right? But how about goalies who have openly had mental health concerns throughout the year? You have Linus Ullmark was one, Connor Ingram was one. You can make the case that there are others around the league that may have needed breaks because of that.
Spencer Knight went through that.
Right.
Yeah.
How hard is it to say, like, can you ever go to Connor Ingram and
Mix
be like,
in a save,
come on, bud.
Mix one in for us.
We need you. It's
can't
a touchy ground for calling out
I can't
teammates.
speak on today's player and the sensitivity around that today in a dressing room, but it was just non-existent in my day. It's like either you're with us or against us. If you can't hang in there, I'm sorry, but let's go have beers, but do not try to help me win a Stanley Cup.
Right.
And that's it. Either you're strong or you're weak at the end of the day. And I don't know if it's that much different, but clearly you got to be more sensitive around it. But
we got to go.
Got to win. Got to help you win in the room, or you're not pulling your weight.
It's a winning business.
Okay.
Valley
deep in the valley. Steve Valiquette when we go national next. Stick around.
It's been 13 years since my wife and I moved to Toronto, which is a good 10 plus hours from either one of our families. We've loved the city and we love the work too, so turns out that distance has become permanent. We alternate who we see at Christmas, and each summer we try to go both places. That works because there's lots of people who like to see Toronto. A couple years back, we tried hosting our house on Airbnb, and it's funny how it's just become a part of the budget math now. It's like flights are going to be this much, and we know we're going to save that much of it by hosting on Airbnb, and we figure out the rest from there. This year, it's a particularly intriguing option as the FIFA World Cup 2026 is in Toronto, meaning there's going to be no shortage of people looking for a place to stay. We're excited to be around all that energy for the first little bit, but it's also going to be great to be able to get out of the madness too, and to recoup some vacation money at the same time. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host.
It's the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. It is our national hour. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, 960 in Calgary, streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. If you can't catch us live, give us a download on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, where the chats are strong as always. And love it when you give us a thumbs up as well. And before we get into Steve Valiquette on our regularly scheduled Tuesday, just the saddest of news, especially around here where our colleague, John Garrett, passed away suddenly yesterday. It's really news that not only has shaken us here at Sportsnet, but all around the hockey world. John was a wonderful person, a colleague here that I started with Sportsnet in the late 90s. He actually started a lot earlier as a broadcaster on Hockey Night in Canada. But on many nights, working right beside him, alongside Darren Drager, Scott Morrison, we just had the best time. And knowing that John, who of course made and built a wonderful life in Vancouver, would fly over and spend weeks and months on end covering the playoffs because we didn't have the national rights. We'd watch games all night and sometimes not go live till like 11 or 11:30, and we just hang out and watch games with him. And I loved it because he was really smart guy, understood not only the goaltending position, but understood the game in general and how it looked in front of him. And maybe that's just another reason why the goalies are so good at broadcasting. And we've got one coming up in Steve Valiquette momentarily. But he was a student of the game as well.
Yeah.
And I just loved and I learned so much. He was like a mentor to many of us at Sportsnet, where you just couldn't get enough of him, and including his infectious personality. He was a funny guy. There wasn't too many times when he didn't come in with just an attitude. At the end of the day, it's just a silly kid's game.
Yeah. Well, that to me, that describes him very well. He struck the perfect tone between educating fans, taking it seriously, but also it is just a hockey game, and he's light and funny, and just really became a familiar voice, certainly of my own childhood and all that. And I know everyone who worked with him loved him dearly.
Yeah, I mean, just some of the calls that are popping up on my, news feed today, and just some of the memories. He's just legitimately hilarious guy.
Yeah.
Everybody that you ever hear talk about him just loves the guy. So
we have this
a little quirky too, right?
Yeah.
Still had that goaltender quirkiness where he's like,
what goalie have you ever met that doesn't have that?
He could eat without a fork, I mean,
and loved ketchup. There was a big thing with ketchup with him.
Ketchup.
Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken on
Mini
a Sunday.
donuts. Yeah.
Myself, Bobby Torrance, who produced us. Oh my God, we just had so many laughs along the way. And
let's play this clip here. We've got
we've got a John Shorthouse put together something that I think it worked around him retiring from Vancouver's regional broadcast.
Yeah.
Of course, he was still doing great things with us, including the Utah series with Vegas, where he sounded as good as he has for 40 years. Yeah. And Shorty did a wonderful piece that we thought was real appropriate to play again.
2023,
so let's have a listen.
His days with the Canucks date back 40 years, but for the last 20, my friend and broadcast partner John Garrett has been the voice and the brain who brings insight amid chaos, who strikes a perfect balance of seriousness and fun, and whose passion for the game is rivaled only by his respect for those who play it. His ability to communicate and to educate is nothing short of brilliant, and his team-first attitude is second to none, whether applied to the Canucks he covers or the broadcast team he captains. Cheech greets every situation with a smile and always has time for an autograph, a selfie, a joke, or a story. He's the everyman who eats what he likes and nothing else. He doesn't have time for a bad mood, and he never puts himself above anyone at any moment. In his distinguished career, Cheech has worked with 40 different play-by-play broadcasters, and I feel so fortunate and proud to have spent the last 15 years partnered with my great friend Dan Murphy and the guy we like to call our other dad. Thank you, Cheech, from all of us. It won't be the same without you.
Yeah, condolences to Shorty, Dan Murphy, who they spent a long time together. His wife Sharon, daughter Sarah, and rest of the family, friends. Our deepest condolences from our show.
Well said.
Okay. All right, from one brilliant goaltender to another one. As far as the analysis is concerned, let's welcome in Steve Valiquette.
Not the playing career.
You know, the likes of John, of course, Greg Millen, John Davidson, man, they really opened it up for guys like you and Hank just to come in and just own it right now.
They really did. And you know what? Mine was Darren Pang, and it's funny because when you're a goaltender playing the game and you're listening to the analysis of guys that once played before, you listen a little more intently because you're trying to learn something about your current game, especially when they're sharing it about what you are or are not doing. And I think that that's part of, I just saw Panger a few weeks ago at Madison Square Garden. And I said, not only did I wear number 40 because you were my favorite goalie growing up, but I also got into broadcasting because I believed it was possible for me because you led the way along with John Garrett and John Davidson and so on. I mean, it is a thing, Kyper.
Shouldn't you have been number 80 because you're twice as big as him?
Well, I told Panger, it's true story is the only jersey I've ever purchased was a Darren Pang jersey when I was 12 years old because we're the same height. And it was because I was watching the Rock'em Sock'em videos. And I said to Panger when I saw him a few weeks ago, it was because of the glove saves that he made in the Rock'em Sock'em videos that inspired me to go out and play street hockey and become a goalie.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a great John Garrett video on Twitter right now of Mario Lemieux in a fight. Mario's feeding someone, and Garrett comes over the top, launches himself in there. Gotta love a guy who competitive and all that, and a great goaltender too. So a heck of a career in his part.
Valley, where do you want to start in terms of the playoff performances, surprises, or not? Let's talk.
Yeah,
let's put a bow on Ottawa and
that's
Carolina.
What I was thinking. I think we should. I think we should talk about that series because I think it leaves a lot of questions out there hanging in the balance. If Ullmark had us stunk it out, it would have been a situation where Ottawa is already looking for who their next goalie is. Not the case. He led our expected goals model in goals saved above expected. He's had the most outstanding playoff with no victories. Now, I think the counterpoint to that is after game one, which we saw a couple of soft ones go by Ullmark in that game, he was lights out. And then as soon as you got into garbage time, the better he played. So I still wonder about how it's going to go for Ottawa next year with him in net, but that was not their issue in the series at all. So I feel like it kind of leaves Ottawa in a pretty hard spot. What do they do for next year? Do they still look outside of Ullmark? I think they have to get somebody to at least be able to carry the load when he's absent because he is prone to absence. Now, the series itself, I thought it played out pretty strange because Anderson was almost equal to Ullmark in the series. He wins 4 straight. I thought that Ottawa played their game into Anderson's strengths. A lot of what Anderson was doing in the postseason reflected what his strengths were in the regular season. So his breakaways, I've said this before, where Carolina has allowed the most breakaways in the league.
Yep.
I thought Ottawa was going to have an opportunity to score off the rush, and specifically breakaways. In the postseason, we've found that breakaways do have that lever of momentum swing. So in the postseason here, Anderson only faced 9 screens in the entire series, no goals against. He only faced 6 rebounds in the entire series, no goals against. 6 net front chances, that was it. Batherson had 1 goal. When I looked at Anderson's goals saved above expected, it was a +6. He was a -5 in the regular season, and he ranked 80th. So he was outstanding. His save percentage in the regular season, if you didn't know, was .874. Now, here's what I thought was interesting on the breakaway side. Ottawa should have known before the series began that Anderson's weak spot was the breakaway goal. Now, he had 20 breakaways over the regular season, goals against, but only 2 of them were off dekes. Ottawa had 5 breakaways in the series. 4 of them, they attempted to deke him. So they went right into his strong point, and specifically they tried to deke 5-hole. He had only been beaten twice off a deke during the regular season, 5-hole all season long, and it was against the Pittsburgh Penguins twice in the same game. So it's really his strong suit. That's where I felt like Ottawa missed the mark in the series. Their pre-scout on Anderson could have been a lot stronger. Carolina, last thing on this, Carolina's 146 breakaways against. I said they were 32nd, 146 breakaways against. Now, one last thing on Anderson, because Sammy brings it up all the time. The games haven't gotten big enough yet. Sammy's right. When the games get big, that's when he allows the low danger goal, historically. If you guys remember a couple of years ago, the Rangers were going into the third period against Carolina, down 3-1 in Game 6. Kreider had a hat trick. Well, one of those goals was low danger. Mm-hmm. Last year, Florida, they had a low danger goal in the elimination game as well to eliminate Carolina. Here's the interesting thing about low danger goals. Talk about swings in the games this year so far in the playoffs, guys. There have been 15 games where a low danger goal has been scored where the other team hasn't had one. And the record is 13-2 for the team that scores the low danger goal if the other team doesn't. 87% chance to win right now this year in the playoffs if you score a low danger goal and the other guy doesn't allow one.
So, Valley, I'm watching Montreal and Tampa, and I'm watching a lot of things not go right for Kucherov, where it's like at times you're like, it hits a blade, it gets picked off, his passes aren't as crisp and clean, but yet he still takes the opportunity to pick something off the wall and just fire it at the net.
Bring it in there.
And I just remember thinking to myself, he's going to hit one of those, you know?
Yes.
He's going to, and sure enough, I mean, that's your low percentage goal, right? On Hagel's redirect in front of the net, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And Hagel, in fact, also had one. If you guys remember, he scored a long distance goal off a twisted wrister against Dostal as well. Now, let's just be careful with how we, by design, categorize low danger. Low danger would be a clear-sighted shot from distance that's beaten the goalie. But when a player throws the puck from the corner to the pile of players net front, and you get a ricochet that either produces a rebound opportunity for their own teammates or it goes directly in, although the percentage and chance of that puck going in from the corner is low, when it hits a broken play, it elevates to a high. Because, Kyper, there is no worse feeling in the NHL for a goalie to be leaning to recover to their right to make a save, and then it goes off your own defenseman's skate or net front. Now, let's talk about the overtime goal that we saw the other night when Anaheim scored against the Oilers. And Poehling throws it from the corner, and he throws it at net front. He threw it to the top of the crease, not at the net. Now, I sent a picture on Twitter for you guys to look out just so we can talk about the dead angle. Because the dead angle is a line that goes from the back of the post all the way to the boards under the hash marks. So when players get into that area and they're throwing pucks, when you say net front, we're not talking at net, though. It's at the top of the crease, and you're looking to create off the pile. That's why those goals are so difficult to save, and that's why they're going in at a really high rate. One of the things I looked at today for you guys was the difference between offense in the playoffs versus offense during the regular season. This goes back to a conversation we used to have with Benoit Allaire. Before the playoffs, he'd sit Henrik and I down and he'd say, guys, we've got to practice differently for the next few weeks, getting ready for the playoffs. We'd start working on ricochets, layered screens, because he said 65% of all goals are either going to go off a screen, a deflection, a broken play, or a rebound. That's playoff hockey. So one of the things I looked at here, fellas, was that broken plays this year in the playoffs, they are the number one chance that has gone in more frequently, and the chances are happening more frequently, as well as screens. Now, that doesn't surprise anybody, but when you look at the teams, and I sent this on Twitter for you guys to see, that are scoring goals off broken plays, it's amazing to me when it's by design, because you look at Minnesota right there, Buffalo, Anaheim, these teams by design are throwing pucks at the pile, either from the point or from the corners in dead angle, and creating these types of plays that you can score off of. And the problem right now that, say, Ottinger's having in the Minnesota series is he's over challenging to the top of his crease, where his feet now are in the white ice. So there's a lot of net behind him. And anything that skitters to his left or right becomes
can't recover.
Broken play goal.
And can't recover.
Can't recover. You saw the last game, there were two of them, and one was right off the end wall. Can't get back to your post. So the issue that he's having in the series, that the biggest challenge for him is being able to play between his posts, but he's really got to get back to playing at the top of his crease with his toes rather than his heels. A difference of 6 inches is a world of difference for a goalie to find the middle of the net.
You know, one of the things you've said to me in the past that kind of stands out with all this is you said that Carolina is the easiest team for a goalie to get hot against. As they move, but to me, they're kind of playing for this type of offense, right? Like they throw it in there, they hope to hit shins and sticks and whatever. And, I'm curious how it's going to square, because it is kind of playoff style offense, but at the same time, it's a lot more low danger attempts, right?
Carolina has more of the clear-sighted shots and less of the broken plays, but they have more of the puck recoveries. They're always at the top of the list at recovering off of their scoring chances, because in most cases, Borney, it's like you saying to your winger or your centerman, when you're off to the sidewall like that, just throw it off blocker and I'm going to go recover it in the left corner because I know it's going there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the advantage of shooting off a goalie's blocker. You're always going to be first if you know it's going there. And it's not an attempt to score. Like, I had some great games against Carolina too, Borney. I want to say that they've been playing this way, this storm type of offense. I mean, for 20 years. You'd go into Carolina and I'd really appreciate all of the shots on goal. There were also times, though, where they'd be on their third puck recovery and you're getting pretty tired because you're defending.
Right.
In your D zone, and then seams are opening up. And I think over the last couple of years, they've gotten better at hitting an east to west pass after they exhaust you to a certain degree. They're doing a better job of that for sure.
You're watching and listening to Steve Valiquette, analyst for the Rangers on MSG, also CEO of Clear Sight Analytics. Let's talk Oilers and their goaltending scenario. Ingram back in going into game 4, game time decision. You don't usually hear with contending teams for the Stanley Cup game time decisions on two relatively healthy goalies. What do you think about tonight?
I think it must have been a decision. It must have been a decision, not one that was clear cut, because here's the thing. Anaheim right now, they are playing by design an offense that is hard for Ingram. In his first 3 games, the hard part for him were the rebounds. Anaheim has created 8 rebounds in the series, guys. They've scored on 5 of them.
Wow.
And when I watched them, Borney, they looked the same. Meaning, I'm watching the video and I'm saying to myself, do we have duplicates of these?
Right. Did we rewatch this? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, am I going to watch it again?
Yeah.
Now, when you're creating a rebound off an open shot, you're doing it typically from the circle because you're coming in off the rush. And Terry's been great at it in the series. Carlson's been great at it in the series. They're just shooting off of his pads. I think they know he's not a mobility guy. He's got a bit of a look to him where he's heavy in movement and heavy to the front and getting on his stomach when he tries to recover. So they're just passing it off of his pads. And I think the most indefensible play of that series was on the power play. If you guys saw Granlund's goal, it was a deflection from Kreider on a pass-off pad. Indefensible. That's why I think there's still more offense to come in the future. In the years forward, we're going to see and understand goal scoring another level. For instance, deflections that come from the ice when you are in front of the goalie, not to the side, but in front of him, it's a low danger goal because it's easy for a goalie to get behind that deflection, anticipate it, and build a wall. But when you take a little off the puck and you deflect it off the goalie's pad for live chaos net front, it's indefensible, guys. You can't even move out of that. So I don't even blame Ingram for that goal in particular. But the others that were shots on goal, where the Anaheim players, to me, by design, looked like they were shooting 75%ers, meaning 75% of full power on their wrister and just putting it off the pad and then having the guys going weak side post. Let's watch for that in this game tonight, because to me, it looks like this is something they know about Ingram. The problem with the Oilers right now, fellas, it's their second periods. They've been outchanced 15-5 in high danger chances in the second period. And Jari's start, I think the reason why he's not going again is because he gave up one of those crushing low danger goals again as well. And I think that they know, Edmonton knows, that they can't afford to have a low danger goal with Tristan Jarry in net right now. They need to have a fighting chance to get back in the series.
Just one more on the Oilers, the goaltending, and we just listened to Coach Knobloch refer to going back to Ingram as our guy. He said it twice in a relatively short period of time, which is great for Ingram. But what would that do to a guy like Jarry? And what were your overall thoughts to hear that? I didn't personally, Valley. No, I don't like it. I don't like it for no other reason. Is I still may need Jarry, and I don't want him to feel like he's any one of our guys is not our guy.
I don't disagree. I think that I went over Jarry's video, and here's what I see. And sometimes a coach has a message like that because they've had it up to here and they're a little bit pissed off too. And why do I say that? Because it doesn't look like he's competing at a high level. The puck is moving around at the blue line. The ISO camera that's behind the goaltender's net, you can just watch his feet not track passes when it's moving up at the blue line. He is, in fact, Ottinger's doing the same thing. They're gliding backwards as the puck is moving laterally. And right before shots are being taken, they're just not lined up with the toe caps of their skates wrapped around the puck. They're late, but they're late because of effort. I think that I didn't learn this lesson until I was 18 years old, and it was from Francois Allaire, who famously coached Patrick Roy. I was staying at his house with Zach Burke, and he said, the harder you work before the shot, the easier the shot's going to be. And that changed everything for me. I went back to the Sudbury Wolves, and I finally outworked and outcompeted the puck's pace. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, the game starts to feel stationary. But for Jarry, the game is always moving right now at a pace faster than him because he's off angle to start the sequence. Here's the thing, guys. When you start any sequence, whether it's in your defensive zone coverage or off the rush, and you're not on true angle, you never regain angle. You never catch up. The game is just too fast, and now you're in motion, and you get beat because of it.
Valley, take you to the other Canadian series here, Dobish and Vasilevsky. Has anything surprised you so far in the way that those two guys have looked? Obviously, they come from pretty significantly different backgrounds in terms of success in the league prior to the series.
I'll start with Vasilevsky, Bourne, because I'm surprised a little bit on the pre-scout for him because there's just so much information, and there are so many goalie coaches for at least the last 5 or 7 years that have built a book on him. Yeah. So even if you don't have the book, you can call a buddy within the league that's maybe not in the postseason right now. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Now, Here's what happens with Vasilevsky off the rush. You cannot be a shooter. When you shoot on Vasilevsky off the rush, you are playing right into what Tampa Bay wants. If you watch Tampa Bay's D, they like to slide. They're a D that likes to slide and cut the pass. This year during the regular season, the puck carrier shot the puck on 2-on-1s on Vasilevsky 33 times, scored only twice. Oh. You're not beating them. You're not beating them straight up. You've got to pass. All right. So you're looking for the pass early. If you get dots down, they slide and take the pass away. It has to be before tops of circles. Vasi likes to come out far. Pass it before the defender's stick. Right before the defender's stick, quick pass. You can try and look for the triangle, the space between his feet and the heel of stick, but that gets a little more challenging. I think it's fool's gold to look for the shot. Off the pass, he has a .769 save percentage. It's your best chance to score off the pass. The other is not enough shots, blocker side. Based on net location this year, Vasilevsky had the 5th worst save percentage blocker side up and down the panel. They should be shooting blocker side more. Another is net front. We talk about this a lot with Vasilevsky. He had the 4th worst net front save percentage, looking for rebounds, broken plays, chaos, net front. If Montreal can do those 3 things, understand his game off the rush, where to shoot location, and then net front, they've got a fighter's chance to do this. I'm all in on Dobish.
Yeah.
I had mentioned that the Hagel goal I didn't like. It was a 65-footer with clear view. But on top of that, I think he's in there giving them a fighter's chance. I think some goalies play in the postseason a little bit like Muhammad Ali. They're light and loose and they're floating like a butterfly. I think he's playing like Mike Tyson in there. He wants to bite your ear off. I like the fight in him and I like what he's doing and I'm inspired by him. And I think that he's going to take this as far as Montreal will allow him to.
Yeah. There's sometimes though, I watch goals that just don't look like typical goals he's let in the past in the playoffs. And I don't know.
Vasilevsky, Kyper?
Yeah,
or
Vasilevsky.
Yeah, Vasi.
Right. Yeah. And you think maybe some of the injuries too? I know he had back surgery. I know there's some hip issues. Is there a chance that he's feeling a little wear and tear now?
So I've been either on your show or listening to your show for 5 years. And I want to say you've brought that up several times now, Kyper, which means you know more than I do.
Okay, no, nothing.
Hey, Sammy,
this is the part where you say, Kyper, you're full of crap. Move on.
No, I think I'm gonna have to talk to you offline because I don't know anything about the medical history. Okay. I haven't seen the X-rays or the CAT scans.
We got time for one more, just in terms of maybe a little mini in Dallas. We haven't really touched on that. Ottinger, nice little comeback from a horrible game 1.
Yeah, you know what? I was going over his OT loss, and what I'd said earlier, which is he's just out a little bit too far. Now, here's the thing: it's always interesting. If I see something in the playoffs, I like to think that the team that's scoring that way, in theory, knows this because they're using our data or they have a good sense of what's going on with that particular goalie, on and on and on. Or they're using their own data and it's in line with what I'm looking at or their goalie coach knows. He had one of the best save percentages this year net front. Ottinger did. The top goalies, this is interesting, the top goalies in save percentage are still currently playing. Top 5 guys, Vejmelka, Vladar, Dobish, Ottinger. These are all top 5 guys. And the one thing that I noticed when I went back to look at his regular season video versus what he's doing right now is he's out a good foot and he's got to back up. Now, in the postseason, sometimes with the congestion at net front, you don't feel as secure because of what's hanging in the balance to stand on the old crease line. But, I said earlier it's 6 inches with his blades. That's a compromise because I can't imagine that he'd really want to do what I'd want him to do, which is get back to his regular season depth, which would be over a foot.
Right. Wow.
So I'd work with the goalie on that one and split the difference because he wants to meet the play, but he's finding himself too far out of the net. You could see it on the Boldy overtime goal. He's way out in the ice. And here's the thing, guys, the middle of the net is the most important part of the net when you don't see it clean coming in net front from the point. To get middle of net, it is old crease line on a straight line, across, which would be a horizontal line, versus trying to meet it. Even though you feel bigger, you're smaller because you're slower to middle of net.
That makes a lot of sense, Valley. Have we run this too long? Do we have time for Valley? You got grill marks today?
I definitely do. Sammy, how are we doing? Are we not good? Or?
We're good. We get the green light.
That's right.
Let's blow it off, Sammy.
Oh, yeah, we got
good,
time.
brother.
We got
We're
time.
good, brother.
Okay. So, star players that are goalless after the first round, but had the most scoring chances. Necas, Svechnikov, Brady Tkachuk.
Brady Tkachuk.
Give me Necas.
Who's that leave me with?
Svechnikov.
No, not him. I'll go.
Brady feels like the clever answer, but I'm still going Necas.
I'll go Natures.
Svechnikov had 17.
None of us
scoring
got
chances.
it.
Brutal.
Come on.
Brutal. I was this close
It was
to
on
going.
a tee for you, bud.
Yeah, I was on a tee.
Especially after McKee's big week
I
last week.
know.
All right. What
Colorado
star player set his teammates up for the most primary assists without recording a primary assist? So this is the Scott Gomez stat where the guys weren't finishing for him on the back door. Mark Stone, Brendan Hagel, Svechnikov.
I'm thinking you're going to do the last week thing. Give me Svech.
Svech.
Mark Stone.
Mark Stone.
I'm not following you anymore.
Let's go, man. Playoff player.
This is huge for you, McKee. What goaltender has the highest high danger save percentage so far this playoff? Shelovs, Jari, Alex Lyon.
Shelovs.
Lion.
Give me Jari.
Lyon.
Oh, that's a
He's
big
only
one.
allowed one goal on 14 high danger for a 929
Yeah, he's
save
been a
percentage.
rocket. An absolute rocket coming in this series.
All right.
Yes, boys.
Valley,
We'll,
great job,
enjoy
buddy,
the
as
games.
always.
See you, fellas.
Okay.
You're the
Next
best.
week.
Thanks, Valley.
That is-
Appreciate it.
Steve Valiquette, always a pleasure to hang out with him on a Tuesday.
Man,
Can't get blanked.
that's a lot of unbelievable information.
It's
He
just
gives
a
us every week.
content machine.
The rebound stuff with Ingram I found fascinating.
Yes.
Like that's a
I also
clearly
thought-
great pre-scout.
The Vasilevsky pass it on a 2-on-1. Like, that's really helpful information.
Game time?
Yep.
Game time, baby.
It's game time. Presented by Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. I'm going. Oh crap! I'm not going to do that because I thought the game was tonight. It's tomorrow. I was going to go to the Raptors, but it's tomorrow night, not tonight. I'm an
It's a
idiot.
Wednesday. They've waited this long from.
But the NBA takes 2 weeks off in between every game. I don't know what's going on over there, but I thought it was tonight, so I'll go back to the NHL. I'm sorry. I was going to try to get tricky there. Let's go to the Boston Bruins in Buffalo tonight. Buffalo trying to advance to the second round. Probably going to be a madhouse. The Blade Gang going to be banging the drum. They got Ryan Whitney and the Blade Gang. They're going all out. They are big faves tonight. Minus 165 on the money line. The Buffalo Sabres plus 140 for the Bruins on the other side.
I got to tell you, McKee, it's tough to put a team away.
I don't know, man. I find that building is going to be a tough task for the Bruins. Like, it's going to be unbelievable in there tonight. Like, think about that.
Yeah. No, it will be. It'll be good.
But
It helped save one already there once.
But you're kind of liking Bruins here.
Yeah, I just think it's tough to put a good team away. Boston's played with them outside of the one game. I thought pretty close. And
Well, if they're going to get a win tonight, the Boston Bruins, they're going to need a David Pastrnak goal. So give me a David Pastrnak goal tonight at plus 195. And that was Game Time presented by Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
all righty.
Kipper, you have fun in that Jays game last night, buddy?
Yeah. Well, listen, hanging out with you and JD Bunkus.
Yeah.
Like,
but, I mean,
you
got
know,
one hit.
I've never.
Was it actually one hit?
Yeah. Well, I saw one hit. I left
They
early.
got one hit.
Yeah.
Sick.
Boy, that JD can talk too.
Oh, yeah. He can talk.
But he's in the business for a reason.
Oh, and before we go, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365.
Okay, plenty to get into on news and notes as we finish off a terrific night coming up in the National Hockey League. Also, whether or not we've already had this conversation on where the potential for the Connor McDavid conversation could go with a loss. We know where the Brady Tkachuk conversation's going with them being eliminated. We've got some sights or you got some sound anyways coming off cleanup day yesterday. We'll get to that.
We got to talk Michkov too.
I got to tell you, tense.
Ottawa.
Yeah. Tense.
Okay.
That's the word I would use to describe some of these clips.
Tense coming up after the break on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show.
It's been 13 years since my wife and I moved to Toronto, which is a good 10 plus hours from either one of our families. We've loved the city and we love the work too, so turns out that distance has become permanent. We alternate who we see at Christmas, and each summer we try to go both places. That works because there's lots of people who like to see Toronto. A couple years back, we tried hosting our house on Airbnb, and it's funny how it's just become a part of the budget math now. It's like flights are going to be this much, and we know we're going to save that much of it by hosting on Airbnb, and we figure out the rest from there. This year, it's a particularly intriguing option as the FIFA World Cup 2026 is in Toronto, meaning there's going to be no shortage of people looking for a place to stay. We're excited to be around all that energy for the first little bit, but it's also going to be great to be able to get out of the madness too, and to recoup some vacation money at the same time. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host.
Welcome back in studio. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee.
Time now for the Acura Performance Matchup, the 2026 Acura MDX, precisely premium. Looking at Minnesota-Dallas Game 5.
Doozy
tonight.
of a matchup.
You're lying.
What do you mean?
You were telling me upstairs. You're like, I don't.
It's the jerseys to me. I am
Laundry.
very interested in the players in the sweaters. If you put all these players in like Tampa Bay, Montreal, it'd be the most electric series
Or
out there.
Pittsburgh, Philly.
Sure. Something about Dallas. I have trouble with. Okay, tune in, board. It's Dallas.
I don't know. I kind of agree.
But they're very good teams, obviously.
They're very good teams.
Very.
This is the 8th time the Wild will be playing in a Game 5 in a best-of-7 that's tied 2-2. Their record in Game 5s in that scenario is 1-6. So this has historically been a bugaboo for this franchise. On the other side of it, this is the 32nd time in Stars/Minnesota North Stars history, which is also very weird that they're kind of playing each other.
Right.
The 32nd time they've done the same thing. They own an all-time record of 17-14 in those contests, but a 13-4 record when that game is at home.
Okay.
So this is a immovable object, unstoppable force.
Yeah.
Or something's got to give. Or no, nothing has to give. Right? I don't know. Anyways, one team's really good in this situation. One team's really bad in this situation. Historically, that could mean nothing. And Nick Foligno tonight, if he scores a goal in the series after his brother Marcus, the Wild can become the first team to have a set of siblings each score at least one goal in a playoff series since when? Turn around and have a look.
Oh, is that right? The Sedins.
Yeah, the Sedins in 2015 first round. Daniel and Henrik.
We know Hagel's leading the league in goals at these playoffs with 6. Jason Robertson quietly still like getting it done, putting the puck in the net.
Which is funny, right? Because they didn't offer him a contract this year. Like that's still up in the air. They don't want to pay him 12 schmil, wasn't that the thing?
He's got 1 year left at a restricted situation, which would put him in a sweet spot to take a qualifying offer, I guess, to retain his rights.
Yes. Either way, a motivated Jason Robertson.
But that could net him $9-10 million to walk into free agency.
That's a nice deal.
And
I do that.
Brady for Jason Robertson, call it into the league right now.
Ooh. Who says no? Who says no?
Call it into the league.
Ottawa.
Ottawa says no? We don't want that?
Yeah. No. Ottawa ain't doing that, boys.
Okay.
Buddy.
If he wants to leave.
You're a year from signing him as a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
For Brady,
that never happened.
We're talking about 2 top prospects and 2 first rounders.
Oh.
Sammy.
Okay. Anyways. Okay, I won't
Not
call
one for one.
I won't call the league then.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good trade. Anyways, that was the Acura Performance Matchup, the 2026 Acura MDX. Precisely premium.
Oh, what are we doing? We're just creating Brady sales or trade pitches here, Kip?
Yeah. We're not doing
trading
it.
them?
The whole hockey world is doing it. You know, can we blame Biz?
Yeah. I think we can blame him for everything. We're about to do it. So let's just do it.
Can I tell you my Sens buddy? Hanging out with him last night. He's trying to make the case for Brady that this is partially, his wife's pregnant, newborn kid, went to the Olympics. The sort of year was just a strange year for him.
He must have listened to Steve Stais this morning.
Is that right?
Wow. Let's listen to...
That was last night.
Let's listen to the first clip on this, because they have multiple different clips. But let's listen to the first one, Steve Stais clip 1 on Tkachuk.
There was a couple players we didn't get to chat with today, including Captain Brady Tkachuk. Had you had a chance to talk to him before he left for the birth of their child?
I did speak to him just before he had left, and then just exchanged text messages with him.
Can you share with us what that conversation was like?
It was quite a swing of emotions for Brady. I mean, we had just been eliminated, and he'd rushed off, and him and Emma had welcomed their second child into the world, so you can only imagine the swing of emotions for him.
How important is maybe heading into this offseason, kind of having an idea of where Brady's head's at in terms of kind of his future and all?
I mean, this comes up very often. I don't I don't think that there's nothing that we have talked about or thought about where that conversation should happen.
Okay.
Don't want to talk about it?
So the next line of questioning was about the podcast. And this is something that we've talked a lot about on this show, that I think all three of us can't stand it and think it's pointless.
Well, it's not pointless. It's entertaining for people. Acknowledge that.
And I appreciate that our sport wants to get into the game, right? NBA podcasts are a thing. Kelsey Brothers made one pretty popular while Travis is still playing.
Okay.
And to be fair, Sammy, this whole hockey world, the last, I don't know how many years now, has been pushing these players to be more outspoken and express themselves and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so
get in touch with their feelings.
It's just not on the players. We've kind of steered them towards this direction. We're to blame as much as anybody here.
Okay.
But also the podcast. Good.
Let's listen to Steve Staios clip 3 on the podcast.
The idea of a podcast, I should say.
Yeah.
What was it like having a player this season with a podcast that created a lot of buzz around the team?
I think you said a buzz around the team. I don't think it really created a buzz within the team.
Who?
What do you think generally just of the fact that one of your players decided to go on this venture and have a podcast in an era now where more and more athletes in sports have their own podcasts?
I mean, I've never listened to the podcast. I don't really make much out of it. I think what our players can do in their free time, what they choose to do. We just want our players to come in and be committed when they're here. And that's what Brady does.
Sounds thrilled about it.
No, that is a guy that's just scared to touch the conversation.
Yes.
Okay. And I got a lot of respect for Steve Staios, but if it's true and he's not listening to it, he must be getting a report on it or something. For him to ignore it and just assume that it has no effect on his dressing room,
crazy.
I don't buy that for 1 second. Okay? But it's a sensitive topic. He's a star player. And I guess it's one of those things where I don't want to rock the boat, but behind the scenes, it has to be addressed. It has to be talked to. And whether or not he has any influence on it, whether or not it continues, there has to be a conversation between him and Brady on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of owners or GMs who would just say, no, you can't do that because, you had it for 1 year and they ended up having to walk back statements or clarify, that we weren't joking about our goalie needing time off or not being able to play back-to-backs. Brady did a sit-down with it for playoffs, whereas we've always believed in him. Like, it did create something that had to be dealt with. And so, I joke podcast thumbs down. I mean, the idea of having one for a player, it can create issues. And it's a tough spot too, because if you want to do a podcast that doesn't create issues, the podcast isn't going to be very good, right? You're just going, oh, what do you like about this? And it's tough to win as an active player, particularly in a sport like ours where the culture is very team first and, besmirching a teammate. Major faux pas.
Last one, clip 2 on Tkachuk. From Steve Staios. Steve Staios, clip 2.
A broader question for both of you guys, but what is it like trying to handle all that noise where people online have their opinions of Brady and people are saying, oh, he might leave, they should try to find a way to trade him. What's it like for you guys being in charge of this team trying to manage that?
Yeah, well, it's nonsense is what it is, and it depends on what week and what fan base it's coming from. So I don't read it. I don't bother with it. We know what we have internally. We have great communication with our players, so we really don't focus on it.
Travis says until I come in here.
Do we know if any of the players talked about it at all? Were they even asked about the podcast? I can appreciate them now going to Staios, but
who's going to say anything?
It doesn't matter. See, this is where
I think it's more valuable to players.
It's for me. I'm always intrigued on not what you say, but maybe what you don't say or how much you avoid it. And that
the 3-second pause
right?
where a guy goes,
it's
well,
okay,
it's fine,
right?
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah.
But like
The old Sheldon Keefe.
the ones that they should be asking are the teammates to get a reaction and whether or not you could read into how they answer it.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that ultimately matter, not Steve Stais at the end of the day. It's how it affects the room.
I hate to, frame this question this way for a Sens fans' perspective, but like, what are the chances he stays? Not what are the chances he goes. Like, are the chances good that he plays there next year, signs a long-term extension, he's their captain to the end of his playing days? Like,
Don't see it.
For 5 more years?
Don't see it. But I also don't see it with, I don't really like talking about this because I don't like throwing stones from my glass house. I also don't see it with the captain of my favorite team. So
right.
I don't want to really besmirch them too much.
When did 2 years?
A lot of besmirching.
Yeah.
When did 2 years become like the measuring stick on whether a guy goes or stays? Like that's
right.
I get it. You got to be able to really truly understand what's going on here. Vancouver had a pretty firm grasp from the moment Jimmy Rutherford said on After Hours earlier this year or last season.
You don't want to be here.
Right? That he'd like to be with his brother that started the whole thing, but
and then double
you don't
down
have to tip your hand.
Sign everybody to keep them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether you're Austin, Brady, or Connor, you don't need to tip your hand to the team.
Yeah.
I've signed a 2-year deal. Oh, will you sign after that? Well, I don't have to make that decision now, do I?
Yeah, to your point, like you used to play out the second year when you had 2 years left and then go into the last year and sort it out then. But it does feel like that conversation's happening earlier for a lot of these guys.
I don't know who it was. One of the reporters at that, one of them there was grilled, like really asking hard questions about Tkachuk. And that was the last one there when they were it was at the end of like 4 or 5 questions about it where they were kind of like, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
I give them credit because that's not easy to do. So,
particularly, Stais and Travis Green seem like great guys and people really like them, but grumpy men.
Yes,
they just seem like grumps.
Before we go to Michkov, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Not playing tonight, Michkov.
Okay, go.
Is he not playing tonight as well?
Yep, game 5.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
My bad.
On that?
Yeah.
This is coming to a head. This is a pretty good player with a bright future who doesn't jive with Tocchet and doesn't seem ready to do whatever these hardcore North American coaches are telling him to do. I bet you could trade for him this summer. That's all I'm saying.
I don't see it. I just think it's a young guy still learning to figure it out. And I think that's the way Talk's treating him.
And I'm sure, this guy had 27 goals or whatever he had 2 years ago. He's got a high ceiling. So hang on to him. I'm with you.
Our thanks.
But I'd call.
In the first hour, Brad May joining us. And then Steve Valiquette. If you're just happen to be joining us now, download our show and listen to it in its entirety. For all of us, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great night. And we're back tomorrow to do it all over again on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show.